Another shocking twist. We a post on NPP primaries. Now we dey if a doctor Evans Duah hot now the abato mountain on NPP primaries 31st January just next week and on Bokako Abano. And also the twist at the aba. Musa Dankwa post abato mountain that is a declare Dr. Muhammad Bawumia. Dr. Evans Duah and suppose declare a Kennedy accomplice Japan. Say or no and a NPP party no obey lead after a 31st January election at a omobekono. Dr. Evans Duah actually nisemu post no and near komu nipakra only the percentage no at the same. Watch a change.
So it's amazing to come your way once again. You remember we came your way in August. And then we did a second one for September and October. Right after that one, we went to a third one, which is the final one that we're doing. Now, this one started from the 20th of October all the way to January 9th, 2026. This one is about how a sample and then our data collection was done. So we had 204,893 as of October 2025. As of today, it started from 215,000 with the addition of all the former executives and patrons and so on and so forth. But out of the 215, some are dead, some are disputable. So it moved all the way down to 212. They are still going down to about 210, 211. For us not to be caught in the numbers of 215, 12, and so on, we decided to stick with the 204,893, which is a sure rest one, while still using the album that was available to us. We went 20% from the 20,000 we did in August to 26,000 in September, October to 40,000. And like usual, there were 9,432 people who we call them, they were unreachable, and then there were also some that were unavailable. So we did a field work, and like we mentioned, the delegates are not people like the general elections. You can just go and interview 5 people together. They are scattered. So the best way is to do a structured phone call. What we did was use the album from the New Patriotic Party. The period is there, and we did it in blocks. Why we did it in blocks was that we checked the regions where majority or almost all the candidates had visited, and we grouped them into 4. Also looking at the schedule of all the candidates. So we started with Bono East, Ahavo, and Western North. And these were the places that, as of the time we were starting, most of the candidates had visited these 4 regions. Then we moved on to Central, Western, Vote, and OT. Then the third block was Northern region, Upper West, Northeast, Savannah, and Upper East. Then we ended with Greater Accra, Eastern, and the last one was Ashanti region. So the scenario construction, we have the worst and the best case scenario. So the worst case scenario, we still have people undecided, some who don't want to tell us who they want to vote for. But in the best case scenario, we take the undecided or undisclosed, and then we sample them, give it to new people to call them, and then they keep calling. We get some number out of that, we extrapolate it to the full population, and then we adjust it proportionally to the rest of the candidates so that there are no undecided and undisclosed in the best case scenario. Now, in terms of methodology and research and ethical standards, I can tell you that it was done in all of its integrity. We had professors who were helping with us. We had supervisors, auditors. We had a live dashboard. We have 20% of the calls were being recorded for quality assurance. So we had auditors who would listen to those audios compared to the inputting done by the enumerators to check that what they have inputted as the opinion polls that they had inputted was corresponding to the audios that they were listening to. And we ensured that it was encrypted. Like mentioned, no personal identifiers or contacts are disclosed in this particular report. Now, let's come to the results. So in the last final one, we see a big rise in the worst case scenario for Honorable Kennedy in Japan, and we see a dip for that of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and then Dr. Brian Champon leaps up, Dr. Yaoseju drops a bit, and Kobneje Japan also dips a bit. Now, if you look at it, at the worst case scenario, it's leading with 47.07%, which is the highest he's had throughout this whole wave. And then he, in his best case scenario, is at 52.59%. Dr. Mahmoud Duah 35.93%, and then moves to 36.24. Now let's look at it carefully on this side. So if you look at it carefully, from wave 1, 2, and 3. So Honorable Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong in the worst case scenario started from 41.73% and increased to 44.11%. And then in the third wave, he's doing 47.0%. So you can see very significant incremental gains even in the worst case. And this is a steady upward consolidation. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on the contrary.
And you need Dr. Evans, and Koma Woody artist or no, the post are Wakakoyano, Etepe, a Kennedy, a Japan, ahead of a Dr. Muhammad Bawumia, and the others, say or no, any Billy, a NPP party. No, after, so a mobile court, no Makakatuaba, yet some any details are did to ya on any post. No,
started at 61% in the 2023 primaries, moved to 39.09%. Increased to 39.51% and has dropped to 35.92%. So you could see the mid-cycle stability followed the decline. The opposite is for Dr. Brian Acheampong. He started at 11.34%, dipped to 6.28%, and has recovered at 8.22%. Dr. Yaosed Duchum 2.71%, increased to 3.19%, and has dropped to 1.95. So you can see that there is this temporary mid-cycle lift, then a whole contraction happens. Then Kwabena Agyapong 0.63% to 0.60, then 0.49%. So consistently, he has remained marginal. In the best case scenario, you're seeing that Honorable Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong started at 51.49%, increased to 53.8%, and then he drops to 52.59%. But you're seeing that he's becoming dominant and stable within the 50+1 region. And that is the reason why our research shows that if any of these candidates will hit 50+1, then it will be Honorable Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 31.26 in his west to 32.21 and now 36.24. Dr. Brian Acheampong, 9.38, 8.27, then 8.60%. Now let's move to the next one. So these are the graphs just showing you how in the worst and then the best case scenario, which you can read in the report. Let's move on to the next. So for the regional levels, okay, from what we have gathered and extrapolated into this, we see that Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong will win Ashanti region with 15,742 approximately. But let's look at the percentages because it's quite easier for people. He will win Ashanti region 44.03%. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at 39.92%. Dr. Brian Acheampong at 5.04%. Dr. Yaosed Duchum 4.06%. Kwabena 0.20%. But there's still some undecided and undisclosed here. So if you look at the regional best case scenario over here, you see that in Ashanti region, Honorable Kennedy Ohene, so nobody's making 50% in Ashanti region. It means that it is keenly contested. In Ahafo region, as you can see, Bruno East, and this is the performance which you can read in the report. Let's move. So in terms of the worst case scenario, we're seeing that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would win Bruno East. He would also win Northeast. He would win the Northern region, the Oti region, the Savannah region, and the Upper West region. Surprisingly, Upper East has now switched because Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong now has gained more grounds in Upper East. And also, North East still remains for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But when we move to the best case scenario, it changes. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is only strong in Northeast, the Northern region, and the Upper West region. So there's the graphics just to help you to understand it. Let's move on. So as you can see here, Western region, Kennedy. So the red ones are Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong, and the blue ones are Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So as you can see, this southern part here, you see the Western, Central, Greater Accra, Volta, Eastern Ashanti, Ahafo, Bruno, all these ones. So it's only Bruno East, Oti, then going to the north. And now the surprise in our third wave is Upper East, because with Upper East in our first and our second was for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but now has switched to Honorable Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong. But when we move to the best case scenario, surprisingly, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is even losing out at Savannah. And it's very, very highly competitive also at Upper West. And it tells you that some few things can happen in the latter days going. So the impact measurement, this I'll leave you to read.
So, in summary, this is a research that sought to find the structural patterns, the trend, and to check the evolution of the NPP delegate preference over a period. Now, just to conclude, let's come back to it. This will be very good for you as a very good reminder. Let's come back. I'm trying to show you something quickly here. Okay, right here. So if you remember what I tried educating you on, there was a post-election reassessment. It took you through the preference filtering. There was the delegate engagement, the campaigning. Then they moved on to the full consolidation and then fragmentation dynamics. But then there's a two-way consolidation. But where we've gotten to is a late-stage constraint. The minds of the delegates are made up. No level of propaganda, spin would change it. So I think all the candidates, my advice to them is to accept the choice of the delegates in good faith, and then the party should work together after the winner has emerged. Now, let's do the last page. This is my favorite part of the research, and it's important that I always add this to it. The numbers that we are showing you is telling us who is ahead. But remember, a strategy that decides who stays ahead. Thank you so much, and I hope 31st would all come back to study again. Thank you.
And you know, any Dr. Evans Duah and some of the other two ne post on NPP primaries. I just say no, so at was in Yama, just say, and yet the amount for a kind of way quiet, Debbie. What was the Yama, Ewa Honoma, Dowona TV, Chawadim, Ewa comment session.